What's up, guys and girls? Welcome back to another video. Today we're just going to deep dive into the first 4 sets of Scarlet Violet and just kind of dig in and see what they're about, chase cards in them, values, how I think they're going to do long term, talk about rotation and things like that. So if you're ready, let's hop on into it. So obviously up first, the first set that comes to mind when you think of Scarlet Violet is Scarlet Violet Base. This is the, Cryon, Maridon set, has them in SARs. But the real talk of this set is obviously going to be the Gardevoir. This Gardevoir card is obviously pretty cool. I think a lot of people like it. I think it has a really great artwork story to it because obviously you have Gardevoir, you have Ralts, you have Kirlia. They're all in order. A sequential 10 of these is actually really neat to have because, one after the other. So pretty cool. How I feel about this set is that overall, I think it's appropriately priced for the time being. I don't see a whole lot of demand for this set. This was a set that was printed quite a bit, so there's a lot of overall supply in the market for Scarlet Violet Base. So overall, I don't see this moving up anytime relatively soon. Now, obviously, over time, it is going to move up. That's just how Pokemon sealed product especially works. But I definitely think the Gardevoir is still really undervalued. It feels like every single top tier chase card in all these sets in the first 4 is around $75 to $80 and probably getting closer to 100, and the Gardevoir is still sitting at $50, maybe even less than that. I'm not quite sure, I haven't checked on TCG players, but I know it was around $50 when I checked the other day. That is astronomically low for a chase card, especially a Gardevoir. I mean, it's an SAR, so it's not super easy to pull. I mean, it's easier because the sets were a little bit easier to pull, but it's still not super easy to pull. There's other SIR cards you can pull instead. Getting a 10 in these for the quality at the time was pretty difficult. So getting a SIR Gardevoir card from the set is pretty difficult. I think this card is relatively undervalued. I think people are going to start to notice it eventually that, hey, this card is undervalued. It's only $50. It's a chase card from a set. Maybe we want to take a look at it. We'll see where that goes, but overall, I think Gardevoir is probably the more underrated part than the actual sealed stuff, since most sealed stuff is now over $200. So I'd be looking in that direction if you were wanting to get in on SV base, although I do think there's other better investments in the first 4 block of SV. Next up, we got Paldea Evolved, Mr. P, as some people call it. You know who I'm talking about. But Paldea Evolved, obviously this booster box is going to be $600 within the 2 years. I could see $700, $800. Would I be surprised if this starts outpacing other sets? No, it's already a pack leader. So the sealed investments for this is going to do really well. Pokemon Center ETB just shot up crazy. It's now $700. It was undervalued for a while, sitting at $300. I wish I'd picked more up, or at least picked up one. I didn't. I missed out. It's just you gotta live with that. But other parts of Paldea Evolved, I feel like are all pretty appropriately priced sealed wise. I think the booster box over the next couple months does have a little bit of runway. I think it might see some uptick into that 450s range possibly over the next couple months. We'll see how that goes. But obviously the chase card, I think everything in Paldea Evolved is just kind of appropriately priced for where we are currently in the market. The Magikarp has a PSA 10 that's pretty expensive. The Magikarp itself is $300 still. So I think everything in that is lining up pretty relatively well with the market. I think it's going to be a front runner for a set. I don't think long term, though, it's going to be the top set. I think obviously Destined Rivals is going to beat it out eventually once that set goes out of print. I think Prismatic's going to outrun it, 151. I think even booster box wise, it's not the #1 set anymore due to Destined Rivals being out, but it will be kind of the front runner because it's this front half of rotation that will be taken out first, and I think it'll have a lot more runway because it's not going to be getting threatened with some reprints like Destined Rivals pretty much will. I think at this point, we all know Surging Sparks even got hit with a reprint. I think Destined Rivals will get a reprint. Now, I don't think it's going to destroy the price like people might think it is. We saw the Surging Sparks reprint bring down from $250 to $200, and now Surging Sparks back up to $250 after a couple months. It will bring the price down long or short term, but Destined Rivals, not a huge threat for that. But Paldea Evolved, not really in a range to where it's going to be getting reprints anytime soon, just because the cards are getting rotated out this coming April in 2026. All of these are, but I don't think Paldea Evolved super threat for a reprint. If you're thinking safer investments in Pokemon, I think those are kind of the higher end of less risk, but still a lot of reward if they do make another run. Now, next up, we got Mr. Obsidian Flames, the one I wanted to really talk about today in this video. We got Mr. Charizard. This card was so undervalued. If you look back just 2 months ago, I made a video talking about which PSA 10 cards I was picked up, and I talked about this card. If you picked one up back then, you're making off like crazy right now. They were so undervalued for so long. An SIR chase card, I know the set's small, but an SII chase card should not be, $40, $50, $60, especially a Charizard. It just doesn't make sense. I think this is sitting at like $120 now, which is, I think a lot more reasonable. I think that's kind of the peak currently. I don't think it should be going too much higher than that. But I do think that's where appropriately this Charizard should have been priced in this current market. It just makes too much sense for it to not be. It's Charizard. I think it looks like, I know people don't like this. I think this looks super sick personally. And I just think Obsidian Flames, the cards inside were being undervalued compared to the sealed. Now, obviously this is for a variety of reasons. The sealed was making more headway in the market more than the cards were. And I think just overall people started to realize that, and obviously we're buying them out, and then the price, there weren't as many on the market, so it's hard for it to return. I do think this will chop back down back to probably about $100, but we've now seen where it can go, and I think that's going to give a lot more people the feeling of security that, hey, this will make a run. Now, talking about the sealed of Obsidian Flames, obviously we had the Pokemon Center ETB made a huge run to like $800, $900, which is absolutely insane. I think that the Pokemon Center ETBs definitely are kind of a not a sure thing. I never want to say that, but they look good. They look nice. I think $800 is starting to get really up there in price, where you kind of need, okay, it needs to go to $1,600 to be able to double your money compared to when it was $300. It just needs to go $600. So it's getting up there in price, but I mean relatively, like I said, all these are going out of print. I don't think Pokemon Center will reprint these ETBs specifically. Other Pokemon Center ETBs I could see getting reprinted in the future, just because Pokemon makes the most money doing these ETBs. It's just free profit for them. They don't have to share it with middlemen or anything like that, like distribution or a warehouse or anything. So ETBs in the future, I think the regular ETB just hit 120. Those are still getting restocked in Walmarts and stuff. So if you see some of those, pick them up for MSRP. I don't even think that's like a no-brainer pickup. Just buy one. It's literally just double the value of what you pay on the shelf. So if you do see one, pick one up. I know my Walmart had one recently. I was able to pick it up, so I was super grateful about that because they're $120 now. But I think Obsidian Flames booster box hitting 300. I think it's just it did good. It ran up. I think right now it's kind of getting its new floor figured out, and I think once it does, then you can go back into buying Obsidian Flames. I'd kind of hold off right now, but I just want to talk about the crazy run that Obsidian Flames did just go on. Lastly today, did just want to talk about Paradox Rift. One of my favorite sets to open, talk about, invest in. It's not an open secret that I like this set. I think it has a lot of runway ahead of it. The booster box is like still only $240. It's like one of the cheapest booster boxes. It's there with like Surging Sparks, and Paradox Rift is getting rotated out. It's not going to be in print anymore. It won't have to worry about reprints like Surging Sparks or even Journey Together, any of those other kind of lower tier set booster boxes have to worry about. So I just think it makes even Temporal Forces one that also will be reprinted. I think it just makes all those just look like a no-brainer play for you got to pick up Paradox Rift booster boxes if you're in that price range. I know I did. I put $200 into it like a month or so ago. Already up 40, 50 bucks. Super happy with those sorts of gains. It's not bad for sure. 25% gain. But Paradox Rift, I think the Groudon currently is the big sleeper. I think if this Charizard was, it was 40, 50, 60 bucks, it's now to 100. I think that Groudon will easily run to at least 100 in the next couple weeks. I think it just makes too much sense for it to not be. People are looking at plays right now, and I think that just kind of seems like an obvious play, is that will probably make them move upward. It just will. Eventually, I don't know the exact time frame, but everyone's looking at plays in these early Scarlet Violet sets, and that seems to be the one, along with the Gardevoir, that seems the most undervalued. It's a chase card in the set, under $100. We'll see what happens, but it just seems like it'll eventually get there. Whether or not or when it does, that's what we got to figure out. But I think if you're looking for a play of like, okay, this has some upside, maybe I can double my money. Groudon seems to be kind of in that field where people want it. It's a chase card in a set. Not a whole lot more getting made. I would just look into it if you're looking for that sort of play. But overall, Paradox Rift, great set. I think it's going to do well long term. I don't think that's really debated at this point. I think people realize that, hey, Paradox Rift is a pretty good set. I also like the Garchomp in that set. The Altaria is pretty great. If you can pick up any of those sorts of cards, you like them for personal collection, I would try and do that maybe now instead of later, because it might be more expensive in the future. So that's going to be it for me today. Appreciate all y'all. Numbers have been pretty good on the likes and stuff, so I appreciate that from everyone. If you could like and subscribe on this one, help me out a ton. Join the Discord, links in the description. At 100 subs also, if you want to subscribe, we'll be doing a PSA 9 giveaway, so if you want to stay tuned for that, appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm going to be heading out, so appreciate all y'all. Take care.